Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt Hendricks. I'm the founder of Perspective Data Science. And today I have a short video that's about AI hardware. I'm going to show you a little bit about I'm going to install a new A100 into one of our AI servers. We have 3 of them. And this will make the server have 4 A100 80 gig water-cooled GPUs. And so let me walk you through the install. First thing, so this is what it looks like. Came from the Nvidia PNY. I think this is PNY modification. I'll take it out of the packaging here. So basically, this is a single slot. You can see it's got one slot here, single slot GPU, PCIe, and I really like these. I went with a whole 12 of these actually because you can make super dense servers. And they stay nice and cool, and so that's probably better for longevity. So there's a couple things we need to do to modify this to fit in our server. One is it comes with this like pull handle thing. Not sure actually, it's a server application, like a server kind of cabinet. It must serve some kind of function inside that setting, but in ours it's not. I'm using normal tower. So I'm going to take this off, and then also these fittings are not compatible with the types of tubing and fittings that I use. So I'm going to swap out those fittings. Another thing to keep in mind here is the flow of water here is direction specific. I don't know if you can see, looks like you can see. So we have a blue end on this one. This is the cold intake. You can see, I just remember it because the way it's going to go into the server is like this, and the cold comes in on the outside, all right, furthest away from the motherboard, and the warm water, the outtake, is closer to the motherboard. So again, you can see that we have red closer to the PCIe the motherboard, all right, and blue, which is the intake, is further away. All right, I'm going to swap these out and show you what the new fittings are going to look like. I'll pause the video and come back. By the way, taking these out is really easy. It's just a wrench to unscrew this, and there's a couple screws holding this bracket on. I'll take those off. There's a possibility it's filled with antifreeze too, so I have to be careful on that, but I'll double check. All right, be right back. Okay, I got the bracket off, and now I'm going to take off the fittings, as I mentioned, starting with and that's further out here. I'm just using a 5/8 wrench. Let's see if there's water in this. Okay. Alright, it's totally dry. Cool. I did get one shipment earlier that had like antifreeze in it, so clearly it had been tested before, and it was shipped during the winter, and they wanted to make sure it didn't freeze and break the card, right? So again, I'll just show you, this is going to go into the server like this, all right, and this this plug closest to the motherboard has the color red. Oh, it's maybe hard to see. Color red there. That is the out for hot, I suppose, right? Cold in, cold water in, hot water out. All right, so here we go. This is with the hardware off. All right, what I'm gonna do now is put the fittings on that are compatible with the tubing that I'm using. So this is just sort of standard water-cooled PC tubing. Can't remember the diameters I'm using. It's just like I can do another video with actually all the parts for the whole server if you guys are interested. Just post a bit comment in the comments video, and I'm happy to make a video about how we built all 3 of these machines and all the parts and everything like that. So all I'm going to do here is put these fittings in. They just screw in and screw it in nice and tight. Alright, and I got a second fitting. This one. And once again, the sort of standard compression fitting here that fits the tubing that I have. Again, I can't remember the exact dimensions. It's like the smaller version, smaller dimension, inner and outer. Alright, whoops. It's a little early here. I have a maintenance window for the server that starts at 7 a.m. So I'm filming this video with plenty of advanced time to make sure that I didn't cover up the, yeah, I did. So there's a little slat here to pull this film off. Let me just pull the film off first. Film's off. One side. And when I originally screwed that on, I actually clamped down that film. So, alright, now we're set. Okay. Put this on. Okay. Alright, so there's the finished product. I got two compression fittings on there, just sort of standard liquid-cooled PC fittings. The way these work, it's pretty simple. I'll actually show you how the tubing goes on here. So it's just like a compression type fitting where you insert the tubing on the compression fitting and then clamp this down over the tubing. It kind of holds it secure. It's fit for the inner diameter and outer diameter of the tubing to compress it. That's why I call it a compression fitting. Alright, let me show you how this is going to work with the tubing. I actually could just pre-install so this is going to fit into the loop on the machine, and the way it's going to work is the machine already has the liquid cooling coming from the hot of the previous card, and that's going to come into the intake here. The outer, remember that intake was further away from the motherboard. It's going to come into the intake here and come out and then go through, cool the card, and come out the cool side or the hot side, and that's going to go down back into the radiators and reservoirs and stuff like that on the machine. So I actually have to put the tubing on this outtake, the compression fitting, and to do that I need to to do that I need to put actually there's a couple things I need to do. The tubing is not squared up, so I want to get that squared up first. I can just cut this with the scissors and just make that square, and then I'll put the this compression I guess washer or threaded kind of compression fitting thing on here, fit the tube on the end of the compression fitting, and then screw this down nice and tight, and then I'm ready to install it in the server. Let me pause the video and I'm going to square this tubing off and do that with you again. One sec. Okay, back. I got my scissors. I'm going to square this off. You guys can see here. There, that's better. Alright. And let's take this onto the out fitting. Compress this on. They fit nice and snug. And then this clamp screws over the top and smashes it down even tighter, holding this tubing in place so we don't get any leaks. Screw that nice and tight. Alright. It's pretty tight. Alright, and so we're all set here. We have both fittings we're going to take in from the previous card. By the way, the loop goes through all the cards in series, and that's totally fine. The last card in the loop is a little bit warmer than the other cards, but it's not a whole lot warmer, so it's not a big deal. It's not like you have to go to the card, back to the radiator, anything like that. So it will come from, there's another card that's above. It's gonna, the loop will come back down into this, all right, and then water will go through, out, and will go through this tube back down into the, I believe, the radiator from there, and then back into the reservoir, and then pump back through the whole system again. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. I'll take you over to the server and show you how this is gonna work, and a little bit about the server here in a moment. Hey guys, I'm in the server room. I'm going to show you a little bit about the server and where this new card is going to go and what we need to do to install it. You can hear it's a little loud right now. There's actually a project running on the server. This is the setup. I don't actually need the screen, but I use that sometimes for setup. I have some cheap screens, but you can see there's currently a project running. One's pulling, so there's actually two backup battery power supplies. One's pulling about 600 watts at the moment, and the other one is up to 300. These projects are set to pause for a little bit. In a moment, my maintenance window opens up. But here's what we have. You can see we have 3 Nvidia A100 GPUs. We have 2 water pumps, one down here and one at the bottom of the reservoir. Pumps. So we're gonna fit this other GPU that I just talked about down in the bottom slot, and it's gonna take water from this top card. The loop will go down into the new card, and then back down, down into this radiator, as you can see here. Now let me show you a little bit about. There's 2 power supplies power in this rig. It's kind of hard to see. We got one SFX, so small form factor kind of power supply, 1000 watts here, and then the main power supply is almost 1700 watts here, and both of these this one's exclusively powering GPUs, this one's powering the CPU and everything else, and 2 GPUs as well. These A100s are 300 watt max, so plenty of power. All right, a little bit about the setup too. There's a bunch of radiators. We have is a 480 millimeter radiator on the front, another 480 millimeter radiator on the side, and a 360 millimeter radiator on the top. And this one, the one on the front, is push-pull. You can't see, but there's fans pulling in, and there's also fans pulling on the back side of the radiator. And on the bottom side radiator, there's fans pulling in from the side here, pushing through, and pushes through to the back side. That's not a push-pull, it's just a push setup. But those fans are super powerful. I've got industrial fans here, you can hear they're pretty loud. And then on the top, it's push-pull as well with the 360 millimeter. And in total, I believe there's like 15 fans in this thing. So there's a lot, and they're all industrial powered fans. All right, so what we need to do here is, and you can see I have the power cable for the 4th GPU just sitting there ready to go. So once these projects drop off, I'm going to shut the system down. I need to drain some water out of that top card, and so I can put that tube, you can see this tube here that I'm pointing at, from that top card. That's the outtake from the top card. That's going to be the intake for the 4th card now, down here. And then that new card will drain down into the radiator here. So it's just going to fit inserted into the loop. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to drain some stuff. So I'm going to pause the video and come back with the draining process. Okay guys, it's shutting down. 1 second, it's running KDE Neon. UI, but it's Ubuntu server, just standard stuff under the hood. All right, so once this shuts down, I'm gonna turn off the power supplies. All right, there we go, shut down. Turn off the power supplies, and I'm gonna take this tube here, the one that goes down into the radiator, and quickly pull that off and drain it into this bucket. I have some paper towels down there. There might be some drainage out of the radiator as well, so I have some paper towels to pick that up. Well, it shouldn't cause any damage, even if it does leak. There's nothing there. So let's turn off the power supply and start draining this. I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, I got it draining. I had to, I guess the laws of physics worked against me there. I had to attach like a temporary tube down here so that it would drain, because that is a lower point. So it's draining into this bucket, and this top tube is not draining anything, so that's good. I need to reroute this top tube into the new card. All right, so that's going to be the next step here. Rerouting this into, I actually might need a longer tube, and reroute that into the new card, and then the new card down into this point. So we're just going to insert, like I said, the card into the loop. All right, be right back with the next step. Okay, I'm making progress here. I put in the fourth card. It just pops in. I didn't even bother videotaping that. It just pops in and then screwed it in right here. And I attached a new tube. I needed a longer tube to this outtake. I don't want the tubes to kink, so I like to run them long and gradual curves here around the reservoir. So this tube is new. All right, this tube is going to go down into the intake of this fourth card. Right, so it's going to go hard to see here, but it's going to clip or fit onto the intake of the fourth card. And then I have to run an additional line from here down into the reservoir. All right, the outtake, and then I just got to plug this power cord into here, and then we're all set. All right, I'm gonna come back with all of those steps done, hopefully. All right, unless I face any challenges. Be right back. All right, guys, one last step here. I got you can see the tube into the outtake, and that's running perfectly down into the radiator here. That's all good. And now the next step is to take this tube that runs from the top GPU, and that will go down into this intake. All right, and the loop is complete, and then I just gotta plug it in and restart the computer. Okay guys, one last step. I got the loop hooked up, and you can see both in there. I do need to plug this in still. Good thing I checked that. Let's do that right now, pretty easy. All right, clicked in, no problem. All right, one thing I want to do before I start the computer back up is I'm going to reprime the water cooling. And to do that, I'm going to use this third power supply that I don't use. This is just going to turn on. I'm going to hook it up to the pump with this SATA power, and have the pump run for a little bit and check for leaks, make sure that everything is primed, and then I'll turn the PC back on. All right, one sec. Okay, I got this little power supply hooked up to just that one of the pumps that runs in the machine. Once I turn this power supply on, it should power up the pump. And there's the power switch. Okay, power supply's on. Should power this pump. And yep, it is. And we'll take out all the air out of the lines, prime all the lines, and I'll have to refill the reservoir, but I didn't lose a whole lot of liquid, so it should be fine. Just important to get all the air out of there so that when I do start it up, it doesn't get too hot like right away. So let it run for a little while to prime that. All right, and I'll be back with you with the machine startup. You can see all the air getting pumped out of there. Cool, huh? All right, be right back with the machine startup and checking that it recognizes the fourth GPU, and we should be good to go. You guys ready for power up? On this machine, I set it up so that you can only power it up by hitting this power button on the motherboard itself. I didn't bother setting up this button up here. One, because I accidentally shut it off one of the servers one time just by bumping that button, and so it doesn't really need it. Oh, I gotta turn the power supplies back on. All right, they're on. And let's hit power. There we go. Firing up. It'll cycle through a bunch of codes here. And you can see it's pumping out a lot of the air still. Those pumps are really powerful, right? And the fans. But you see a lot of these codes that will pop up here. It'll cycle through and should recognize this fourth A100. I'm gonna have to add some water. All right, be back with the test to make sure that the system recognizes the fourth. You can see it's cycling a bunch of codes. Recognize the fourth A100, and I'll be back in business. All right, see you in a bit. Hey guys, we got a good code here, AA. That's normal. Everything is normal. It appears normal at the moment. We'll see. We've got, it looks like a post, and we're going into the operating system. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna go back and SSH in from my workstation and make sure that all of the GPUs are recognized, and put it back online for people to rent it and train their models. All right, be right back. Okay guys, I'm back on my workstation. I have a terminal open, and what I'm going to do is just SSH into that machine and double check that Nvidia drivers are recognizing the new software or new hardware. I call that machine Lenny, so all I have to do is SSH Lenny and then enter my passphrase. All right, here's the key test, NV top. And yes, we have 4 GPUs, and let's show that this is 4 here. All right, you can see we have 4. We have 4 Nvidia device 0 is an A100, device 1 A180 gig, device 2 A180 gig, and the 4th device, probably the one we just installed, is 80 gig A100. All right, and it looks like they're all getting a little bit of power. That's perfect. All right, they're all kind of idling at the moment. That looks great. All right, so I think we successfully installed it. I am going to run some other tests and run some training on this thing. And I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and by the way, let me know in the comments if you want to know more about the machines that we built. We built 3 of those machines, all with 4 A100s. They can actually hold 7 directly into the motherboard, so they can get a lot more dense than they are right now. I may do that, actually invest in more cards and put more. Since they're single slot, I can put a bunch more in there. But that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time.